All right, so good evening. My name is Will, and I'm the founder of Tumalow. And Tumalow operates energy storage systems for commercial buildings. And I want to sort of start by talking about a $1 trillion opportunity. So for the past 100 years, we've built up the grid in pretty much the same way by connecting ever larger power plants with ever longer wires. And if we keep on with this like business as usual for the next 15 years, it's actually going to cost us here in this country $1 trillion sort of to continue to build up this infrastructure. So we think that there's a better way, and that better way is to use distributed energy storage systems, sort of placed right at the load where the asset is the most valuable. Now, if we do this and we connect these over the internet so that we can run them in some centralized way, we can actually perform all of the same jobs that $1 trillion worth of traditional power can do, but at half the cost, and we can bring it online 10 times faster. So this is our way of sort of tackling this $1 trillion opportunity, but really sort of having this grand vision doesn't get you anywhere if you can't go to market. So we're going to market by partnering with commercial solar developers. So I'd like everybody to meet Dawn. Dawn's business is to install solar panels at commercial buildings. She's heard a lot about battery energy storage, so she knows that these are sort of refrigerator-sized batteries that she can put sort of directly into her customers' buildings. She can use them to lower the electric bills for her customers and to give them some backup power to keep the lights on during a blackout. And she really sees this as a big growing business, as a way to expand her own business. But even though Dawn is really good at installing solar panels, she quickly realizes that she doesn't really understand how to do the engineering design or the financial design for energy storage systems. And she also wouldn't know what to do with one of these systems once it was installed. So how do you operate it from second to second? Right. So for these reasons, this is why Dawn comes to Tumalow. This is why she works with us. So we will put in, the process starts by putting in a smart tile. It takes about 10 minutes to install one of these in a customer's facility. We plug it into the wall. We clip one of these sensors around the customer's insulated wires, and then that's it. The smart tile will start to send the customer's usage data. In real time, it will measure this and send it up to our cloud. And once our system has learned the usage patterns for the building, it'll generate a system design. So it'll come up with what type of battery system Dawn's customer should do. And it'll start to run a test drive for this system. So a real-time simulation of what a battery storage installation in that building would do. And then this is something that the customer can see sort of on their smartphone. We can also generate a pro forma. So what is the financial performance of this system over time based on something called a storage sale leaseback. And this is a financial structure that we've developed in order to really sort of unlock the many value streams of storage. Right? And because we're getting such high quality data, we have financing partners who will finance up to 100% of the upfront cost of some of these systems. So we can actually put the batteries into a building with no upfront cost. And finally, the smart tile will operate the battery system once it's in. So it'll, second to second, it will charge and discharge the system. So this is our traction. So far, we have 2 of these battery installations operating today, and we've built up a pipeline that's worth over $50 million that we're working through right now. So our business model is, again, we put in these systems and we make money by operating them. So we lower electric bills in the building. We sell services to the electric grid, and today this is worth about $30 per kilowatt. Now, not only are we working to scale the number of systems out there and the number of kilowatts that we're managing, but we're also working to make every system that we already have and that we'll put in sort of more valuable over time. And the way that we do this is to come up with more jobs for battery storage to do that we can get paid to do now. Now, in a regulated business like energy, sometimes that means policy changes. So here's the folks that are making all of that happen. We're a team of engineers and former C-suite executives. And really critically for this discussion is that we have a lot of folks on this team that are helping to sort of shape that policy discussion around energy storage. Because this is a new thing in this industry, and there's still essentially a big fight over the rules and who gets to own what and who gets paid for what. And this is going to be very critical, really to the future of this business moving forward. So again, we're Tumalow. We enable battery energy storage for commercial solar developers, and love to take your questions.
Talk about the interface with the customers. How does it work?
Yeah, sure. So this is something we spend a lot of time working through. So the sales cycle starts, again, I think it was Inverio who said that we really want to try to make this as low stress and low commitment as possible. So the whole process starts by putting in one of these smart tiles. Again, it takes 10 minutes, and then this lets the customer sort of get a feel for what the technology would be doing in the building and get comfortable with it. Because it's so quick and easy to install, we don't have a problem sort of putting it in, and then let's say that we can't come to an agreement, then we can just take our gear out later, right? So we put in the tile, they get comfortable with it, we generate this pro forma, we present it to the customers, and then either they decide to go ahead, in which case we'll leave it in, build the install, or they decide it's not for them and we'll take it and go to the next building. And so that's sort of the sales recycle, if you will, because we get to keep using that gear.
What are you doing right now to get Dawn to be one of your champions or your champion as you move through the market space?
Yeah. So honestly, what we're doing right now is decidedly low tech, but it's very effective. Which is, I'll just go have coffee with her, and we've managed to develop a number of partnerships just by shaking hands and sipping on a beer, and that's sort of what's filled up our pipeline. Now I know that's not a very satisfying answer for how we would do this at scale, but so I think that would require sort of more diligent and more sort of a robust marketing plan. But for now, we have a very full pipeline of projects because we get a lot of sales leverage. Every time we convince another solar developer, that unlocks essentially their whole book of business for us to start working through once we've gotten their trust.
Is there additional value that you offer to solar developers or to customers that have solar panels that you wouldn't be able to realize with customers that don't have solar?
Yeah, so to your point, these systems work pretty well as standalone storage systems. The reason that we like to work with solar developers is really twofold. So the first is financial. There's an investment tax credit for solar that will also be extended to the energy storage, as long as you sort of charge the storage off of the solar. That gives us a nice 30% off. The second part is a very practical one. That this is still sort of a new technology, and if you are somebody in a building and I come to you and say, look, I have this strange box that you've never heard of, let me put it in your building, that might not be as credible as somebody who you've done business with in the past, who you've let put solar panels on your roof, who's done other energy upgrades to your building. If she says that to you, she maybe has a lot more credibility.
And how is your product differentiated from probably the market leader right now, like STEM, and what they're doing in the C&I space?
Yeah, sure. So there's other companies like STEM or Jelly or Green Charge Networks. A lot of these folks are really sort of blazing the trail, but they're not helping my customers who are these solar developers, right? Folks like STEM are good at developing the whole project soup to nuts, but that doesn't leave a lot of room for my customers. So we've really given the solar developers the tools it takes to not only sell these projects, but then to operate them once they're in.
Do you have a sense of how many commercial solar developers are out there? What?
I mean, I don't have. I should get a good number for you. There's a lot of these folks regionally. I mean, I know that that the big names, the solar cities of the world, they really dominate the news. But there's a lot of these regional players out there, really across the country, that are struggling for the future of their business because they see this sort of technology arms race going on, and they're concerned about how they're gonna keep up with it.
Well, can you talk about the blocking factor, whether it's technology or business model? What's there to keep others from copying if you prove out the story?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think a big thing. I mean, we've done a lot of hard work on the technology development side. So we have some clever things on the technical side, but really it's going to be twofold. So the first is once we're in a building, we have sort of a long-term contract to operate in that site, and So a lot of these blocking factors are going to be coming in from either contracts or just the relationships we build with our channel partners. And then in addition, as some of the new policies come online, we will be sort of able to monetize those as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Will.
Thank you.